welcome back to the Beach Bum Bookworm. I am Tiffany. I'm so glad y'all found me again today. My channel is all about cozy mysteries and romance books, and today I'm doing one of my favorite videos. I say this a lot, but this is one of my favorite videos too. Along with what's releasing is, dun dun dun, what I read for the month. So this will be what I read for the month of August, and right now we are looking at cozy mysteries because I will do another wrap up with my romance books. Let me know what cozies you read in the month of August, which ones you're looking forward to in September. I had a great reading month as far as ratings for me, so I was really, really happy with that. Let's get right into it. Don't forget on your way down to comment to let me know about those books you read, to hit the subscription and the notification bell, because that's going to tell you when I put out new videos each and every single week. All right, let's get to it. We're looking at my Cozy Mystery August wrap up in 3, 2, 1, go. So the first cozy that I finished in August was Murder in the Cookbook Nook. This is by Ellery Adams. This is the 7th book in the book retreat series, and it is fabulous. I gave it 4 huge cups of coffee. It was a great way to start the month. So this series is about a book retreat that's at Storyton Hall is the name of the book retreat in Virginia. And our main character, Jane, is the manager of this book retreat. Oh, there's so much more to this. They do literary events there, but the actual grounds has like secret passages and tons of different libraries and gardens. And oh, it just sounds amazing. As a book lover, I want to go there. Like, oh, I want to visit so bad. This one, there is a food competition. One of the contestants ends up dead. There's been some weird stuff going around town, and at first people think that it might be connected to that. Jane, our main character, she's not so sure. The thing that I love about this is, like I said, the setting, it comes to life. Like you feel like you are there. You feel like you want to be there. The characters are amazing. I like Jane, but I really like the Cover Girls, which is this book club that helps Jane out from time to time. I love all her Aunt Octavia, that she has twin boys that are adorable. They're named Finn and Hemingway. They have grown so much in this series. It's just wonderful to come back to each and every time. Again, I gave it 4 big cups of coffee. I loved it. And it means I'm caught up with this series until a new one comes out. It's on my SAS list, so nicely done. So the next book I read was a new to me author and new to me series, which is always fun. And I'm so happy to say I loved it. It is Cupcakes and Chaos. This is the first book in the Frosted Misfortunes mystery series by Lisa Seifert, who has a YouTube channel where she talks about cozy mysteries. So definitely go check out her channel. This was so much fun. I gave it 4 cups of coffee. It was so cozy. It might be what some people would consider over the top, but I am of the mind of the cozier the better, the fluffier the better. I know some people are like, oh, a little too much, but fabulous. It was so good. So our main character, Ava, she is going to be at this bake-off contest. She's working at this cupcake place, and she gets pulled over because she's speeding, because she's running late, and there is a dead body in the back of the van that she is transporting these cupcakes in for the bake-off. The dead body is the owner of the cupcake shop. Now, the lady was not nice, so there are a ton of suspects that might not be sad that she is gone, which makes them the suspects, right? And all this other stuff happens, and then basically in the will, this lady who was so mean to pretty much everybody, including Ava, left her house, which is a mansion, and her cupcake shop and all this other stuff. And so she feels kind of obligated to figure out what's going on. And it was so good. I can't even tell you. I can't wait to read number 2. 4 huge cups of coffee. Loved it. Up next is number 3 in the Lighthouse Library Mystery Series. It's called Reading Up a Storm. I'll put it right here. This is by Eva Gates, who's AKA Vicki Delaney, which is AKA one of my favorite series, AKA the year-round Christmas mystery series, which in a few months will be a perfect opportunity if you have not read it. Oh my gosh, you are really take the time. It is amazing. Okay, so in this one, our main character, is it Lucy? Lucy. She is at home. So she lives on the 3rd story or 4th story of the library. It's a lighthouse, and she lives in an apartment up top. And she's looking out her window, and she sees these, I don't remember if it's distress calls, but she sees a boat and there's a storm, and she's like, what is going on, sort of thing. So eventually she goes out and investigates, and there's a dead body on this boat, and she's going to figure out what is going on despite people not wanting her to get involved, just like usual. Love, love, love this series. It's a setting thing again for me. I love the coast. I love just everything about it. It was so good. I gave it 4 cups of coffee. Really enjoyed it. Next up, I read Murder Plainly Read right here. This is the 4th book in the Amish Quilt Shop series by Isabel Allen, who is AKA Amanda Flower, who is AKA one of my favorite authors, including the Amish Candy Shop series and the Matchmaking series, which are some of my favorites. The Amish Candy Shop is in my favorites of all time. The Matchmaking is fast becoming one, but so far I've only read the first 2. Haven't been able to read the 3rd one, but they are so good. So we're not talking about the Amish Candy Shop today, though. We are talking about the Amish Quilt Shop. So in this one, there is a book sale and there's a bookmobile that obviously distributes books. And some of the Amish aren't thrilled with the bookmobile because it's delivering books to Amish people. And someone that was big into not wanting the books to be delivered is found dead. The bookmobile librarian is, of course, the #1 suspect. And Angie's just trying to figure out what the heck is going on. So good. Loved it as always. 4 cups of coffee. Such a well-written series. Amanda Flower, I feel like, creates and paints a picture that puts you right in any book and any setting that you go with her on. It's amazing. So good. The next one I read is perfect for this time of year. It is Death by Jack-o'-lantern right here. This is the 2nd book in the Abby McCree mystery series by Alexis Morgan. So the premise of this series is that Abby McCree, our main character, in the 1st book has just gotten divorced and she had to leave her home to her husband in the settlement. And so she moves to her aunt's home in Washington, in a really small town in Washington. The name of it's really cute. Let me think. I think it's Snowberry, something along that lines. It's got a very cute name. So she's living in her aunt's house, and her aunt's friends are always around, and she's got a person that lives on the grounds with her, but in like a, I don't know if it's maybe a farmhand's house or something like that, but there's kind of a little love interest going on there. It's brewing very slowly. So while all that's going on, her aunt's friends that I was telling you about are really encouraging her to get involved in all these town activities. And she has been volunteered or voluntold or whatever you want to call it to be a part of organizing the Halloween festival. And that includes picking up pumpkins from a pumpkin farm. And the gentleman, I shouldn't call him a gentleman, the guy who runs the pumpkin farm is not a nice man whatsoever. And when she goes out to pick the pumpkins, dun dun dun, he's dead. So Abby is going to investigate and figure out what's going on. Well, what's going wrong too. Loved it. I think I gave this 3 cups of coffee. Let me check. Yes, I really, really enjoyed it. Definitely will be continuing with the next one. So the next book I finished was a domestic diva book. This is The Diva Cooks a Goose right here. It is number 4 in the series by Krista Davis. I read a lot of Christmas cozies this month, and it was not intentional by any means. It was just the next book in the series. It just, I guess, worked out that they were all Christmas. It was so weird in August, not even in July. I did a Christmas in August this year. It was a blast. I loved it. So in this series as a whole, our main character, Sophie, is a advice columnist, kind of like a Dear Abby, but a jack of all trades. So she will answer your questions about decorating, about food, about marriage, about children, about interior design, anything. I absolutely love it. It's a really fun, so there'll be like excerpts at the beginning of the chapters of somebody writing in and asking, and it gives you sometimes some cool things. I just like DIY projects and stuff. I love it. So Sophie's sister-in-law, Lacey, is going to have family in for Christmas, and y'all know how sometimes that can be. We've all been there. And this just, there's so much going on in here. So to begin with, Lacey's dad brings his new girlfriend, Bonnie, to their Christmas function. He's only been separated from her mom for a month, so you can know how well that goes over. On top of that shenanigan, Lacey's younger sister, I do not remember her name, is engaged or soon to be engaged to Bonnie's cousin, which Bonnie is the new girlfriend of the dad. Holy moly. So it's just so much ensues at this party, and then Bonnie, the girlfriend, ends up dead, and Sophie's just trying to figure out what the heck is going on, and her boyfriend is out of town. Her boyfriend is a detective for the department, so that kind of creates a little havoc and chaos that's not normally there. Absolutely loved it. This was actually one of my favorites of the series. I really, really enjoyed it. I gave it 4.5 big cups of coffee. I don't know if I said this, but I rate my cozies and cups of coffee because that's cozy. Yeah, to me. That's my cozy. All right, the next one I read was Holiday Grind. I told you, another Christmas cozy. This was number 8 in the Coffee House series by Cleo Coyle. This is on my sass list again. And in this one, Santa ends up dead. Oh my gosh. That's all I'm going to say about it. Claire's got to figure out what's going on. I loved it. 4 big cups of coffee. I love every book in this series. Amazing. A lot of these I know are going to have high ratings, and I said that at the beginning, but they're also going to have high ratings because none of these, except for I think the Lisa Cypher book, was a new series to me. All of these are on my sass list, so I already know that I enjoy them going in. So that's why, too, I have pretty high ratings this month. So the next one I read was Going Ganache. This is the 5th book in the Cupcake Bakery series by Jen McKinley. So Mel and Angie own Fairy Tale Cupcakes, and in this particular book, they're going to be featured in this magazine. And of course, tempers flare because some of the characters in this book have a little bit of temper, and it gets them in some hot water. And they have to do some things to try to smooth out what has happened. And somebody ends up dead. Loved it, loved it, loved it. I think I gave this one 4 cups of coffee. Oh, but I will say, I would have given it 5 or 4.5 maybe, but there is a love triangle in this. And at one point I wanted to take it's not even so much that it's a love triangle anymore. It's that the main character can't figure out what she wants, even though despite the fact that she finally got what she wanted after like forever wanting it, if you know what I mean. I don't want to give anything away, although it's been going on since the beginning of the series. I wanted to take one of her cupcakes and smash it in her face. I think I put up a meme while I was reading it on the Discord, our Cozy Mystery Discord, which if you haven't joined, you are missing out. It is the Killing Time with Cozy's Discord. I'll put it in the description below. But I put a meme as I was reading it of people getting hit with pies in the face because I so wanted to I don't want to hurt her. I love her. I just wanted to knock some sense into her with a pie or cupcake. Really, really enjoyed it. Oh, the next one kind of breaks my heart a little. It is Arsenic and Adobo right here. This was our last book club because now we're moving into scavenger hunt picks that will take the place of book club. I have a video that explains all about that, so I'm not going to get too much into that. This is by Mia P. Manansala. It is the first book in the Tita Rosie's Kitchen Mystery series. I picked this for book club, and let me tell you how excited I was for this. I can't. I was so excited for this book. I loved the cover. I loved the idea of it. I loved that we were going to get some culture that I don't know a whole lot about. Absolutely was so excited. And maybe I built it up too much. So I gave it 2.5 cups of coffee. I rounded it up to 3 because I would round up rather than down. And this one, our main character, Leela, although she is right, I had called her Lila through most of the book until like there's this one sentence and it's like, well, I listened to it on audio, but somebody says, oh, your name's pronounced Leela? She's like, yeah, but I don't really correct anybody. So then I, in my head, started thinking of her as Leela. There was a lot of culture in it. Loved that. There was a lot of Filipino food in it. Loved that. There was also a lot of plot holes and some things that I just didn't think made sense. And some big character flaws in the main character. And people like different things, but some of the character flaws for me were really annoying character flaws. I am going to read book 2 because this is a debut. And we've said this before, sometimes even cozies that aren't debuts, the first book is a setup. So you need to give it another chance. And it was not anywhere to the point where I wouldn't do that. So I'm definitely going to be checking out book 2. And I really, really, really hope that I enjoy it more because I just want to love this series. So the next series is one that I absolutely love and our series read along. We started it in August, so this was book 1. It is Hummus and Homicide right here. This is part of the Kebab Kitchen Mystery Series by Tina Kashian. We will be reading number 2 in September. Like I said, it's a series read along. So we are reading all 5 of them and we will be reading one a month. Book 2, we will be discussing September 18th. So join us, join us, join us. It was so much fun. So this series follows Lucy. So my friend Storm from Storm Reads, sorry for the off topic, but I have to tell you this. She said, all these characters and cozies always have the name Lucy, Lacey, and a couple of, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'd never noticed. And now I'm so fixated on that. And this, the main character is Lucy. Thanks, Storm. I will link her channel below because she is amazing. All right. Lucy returns home to her parents' Mediterranean restaurant. It's on the boardwalk in New Jersey. And if you know anything about me or watch my channel for any amount of time, the boardwalk is like a amazing setting to me. I can't say it any other way. I think of like everything set up on the boardwalk and Ferris wheels and fortune tellers and cotton candy and bumper cars and it's amazing. Yeah, funnel cakes and okay, I could go on and on. I'm trying to get back on track here. So Lucy comes back home and she is helping out in her parents' restaurant. She is a lawyer and they're like, what are you doing home? And she's like, oh, I just want to hang out, sort of thing. Her ex-boyfriend, who the parents love, is working at the restaurant and they're thinking about selling to him. And Lucy's like, huh? This is a family, place, blah, blah. And at the beginning of the book, the health inspector comes in. Here's where it gets kind of, the health inspector's daughter comes in, who is the nemesis of Lucy. So she finds all these bogus citations and then comes back later and eats at their restaurant after giving them all these health violations. Yeah. And ends up dead, poisoned. So of course, Lucy needs to figure out what's going on so that the restaurant can get back on track. 5 huge cups of coffee. 5 huge cups of coffee. Amazing. Can't wait to read Stabbed in the Baklava, number 2, and discuss it on September 18th. The next one I read was Death by Auction. This is the 3rd book in the Abby McCree series, which I read number 2 in. This is on my SAS list, so that's why you're seeing these come up quite a bit. It's by Alexis Morgan. And this one, she is talked into Abby. I told you she's always volunteered or voluntold for different committees and organizations in town. And in this one, she's going to organize a bachelor auction for Tripp's veterans group. So Tripp is the guy that I was telling you about that lives on her property. And his ex-wife comes in and somebody dies and just all sorts of shenanigans ensue. I really, really enjoyed it. I did give it 3 cups of coffee. It's a solid read. I will be reading the next one. This is what I was saying. So the 4th one is the one that I cannot find on audio just yet. But being that the first 3 were out on audio, I think if I give it some time, the fourth one will be there. So the next one I finished was Murder Handcrafted right here. This is the 5th book in the Amish Quilt Shop series by Isabella Allen. I talked about the 4th one earlier, again, on my SAS list, and I think that I am finished with this series. I think number 5 was the last one. Sad. Maybe there'll be more, but I don't know. So in this one, Angie, our main character's dad, hurts himself, and they're doing some remodeling at her parents' house, and an Amish man ends up electrocuted. So Angie, of course, is trying to figure out what's going on. There's a lot in this. It was a really fun installment. There's a Bigfoot sighting. Yes, Bigfoot. And this takes place in Amish country, Ohio. It was so good, so funny. Loved it, loved it, loved it. 4 cups of coffee. So the next book that I read might have my favorite title of the month. It is Deja Moo. This is the 3rd book in the Perfectly Proper Paranormal Museum by Kirsten Weiss. So in this one, it is a Christmas book, and the town has this Christmas cow, and they always have to protect it because teenagers like to play pranks and steal it and knock it down and different things. And when somebody's on watch, a bow and arrow strikes one of the watchmen and chaos ensues. Maddie, our main character, is going to figure out what's going on. I gave it 4 cups of coffee. It was probably my favorite of the series, but I think that it was the reason my favorite, because I really enjoy this series. I think it's because it was a holiday. It had a Christmas cow in it, for goodness sakes. It was so fun. So the next one I read was The Hidden Corpse right here. This is by Deborah Sennefelder. We had read this for a knockout or for book club, don't remember which, in our Killing Time with Cozies group. I loved the first one, so I had to read this one. I gave the first one 4 cups of coffee. I gave this one 4 cups of coffee, but because I liked number 2 better, I'm giving it 4.2 cups of coffee. It was so good. Our main character, Hope, is a food blogger. She takes a food photography course in this book, and the guy teaching the course, his wife, is missing. People think something sinister is going on, as in that she's dead. And Hope is trying to figure out what is really going on. I loved it, loved it, loved it. The food blogging's fun. The characters are a blast. I can't wait to read number 3. So the next one is a new to me series because it was number 1. It is not a new to me author though. The book was The Fiesta Burger Murder right here. This is by Rosie A. Point. The series is The Burger Bar. So our main character, Christy, is a homicide detective in Boston. She got suspended because she's a little overzealous sometimes. So she goes back to her hometown to see her best friend, Griselda, who they call Grizzy, who owns a burger bar. And one of her customers so Christy helps out in the restaurant waitressing, which she is horrible at, doesn't know how to do. But anyways, in that situation, she meets this guy who's complaining about the food and he's kind of nasty and this and that. He ends up dead on Grizzy's property, and Christy thinks that maybe Grizzy's involved, and all sorts of stuff happens. I enjoyed it. I gave it 3 cups of coffee. It's a short read. I will look into it more. I did have some issue with it, but I feel like it was definitely good enough to try out the next one in the series. Next up is Roast Mortem. This is the 9th book in the Coffee House Mystery series by Cleo Coyle. Our main character, Claire, is at it again. She and her mother-in-law, ex-mother-in-law, I guess, Madame, go to visit one of Madame's old friends who owns like a bakery coffee shop, and an explosion occurs. A lot is going on in this because not only did this explosion occur that they're trying to figure out what happens, but Claire thinks that it wasn't an accident, and Mike's cousin, so Mike is Claire's boyfriend, Mike Quinn, who's a detective in New York. His cousin is on the fire department, also named Michael Quinn. Yeah, not a nice guy. They have bad blood between them. He's a very big part of this, and it was just really interesting to see this dynamic play out. Really enjoyed this. Gave it 3.5 cups of coffee. So next up, we have The Diva Digs Up the Dirt by Krista Davis. This is part of the Domestic Diva series. It's number 6. And in this one, Sophie is on vacation, supposed to be taking a relaxing vacation. And they find, so her boyfriend, so Sophie's boyfriend, Wolf's marriage, the wife disappears. A lot of people think that he killed her. Sophie never's believed that, or at least hasn't for a long time. But they find her purse buried, and then she's like, oh no, you know, but she still doesn't really believe he's involved, so she's going to investigate. This was not one of my favorites of the series. I did enjoy it. I gave it 3 cups of coffee. I have no intention of quitting this series, just wasn't one of my favorite ones. So next up and last, we have Fishing for Trouble right here. This is the second book in the Alaskan Diner series by Elizabeth Logan. Love, love, love this series. I mean, it takes place in Alaska. I live in Florida. I haven't always lived in a majorly warm climate. I lived in Illinois till 2019, but although I miss cold weather, I have no intention of going back to cold weather. So it's fun to read about. And where else and what better location than Alaska? Yes, and I love diners. Oh, so good. So our main character, Charlie, and not inherits because her family's not dead, but takes over the family business, the Bear Claw Diner, because her mother wants to retire and travel. And there is a fish processing place that's in their town, of course, because we're in Alaska. And the victim is a young man who works at this processing place, and he dies in Charlie's Diner. So she's like, oh no, this is not acceptable. So she's going to figure out what's going on. So good. Love the characters. Love the location. Will be reading number 3. Can't wait for number 3. Really fun series, y'all. Gave it 4 big cups of coffee. All right. I hope you enjoyed this. Tell me what you read in August. And until next time, may all your future reads be 5 stars. Bye, everyone.